So yesterday we talked about how to find if a relationship is proportional. This is something you already got down. So just as a review, and you all kind of showed me that you know how to do this on these questions that we just went over. But to find out if a relationship is proportional, first of all, we've got to figure out, okay, what are the two things that make up this relationship? That's important. The question about the tax, if you looked at the two different numbers, it would have not been proportional. So you've got to make sure, first of all, you know what two things are we looking at. We wrote everything as fractions. We simplified all the ratios. Most of the time we got the unit rates. If every single unit rate or ratio is the same, it's proportional. But if only one of them is different, remember, that means it's not going to be proportional. So a big thing for this is make sure you read carefully. You compare the two things that you need to compare. The examples that we're going to look at today, they have to do with looking at two different pieces of information that they give you. One is proportional, one is not. So it's similar to the one about plant A and plant B that we talked about. And so we've got to figure out which one of those would be proportional, and then probably most of the time also explain why that's the case. So on your example, this next example, those two tables represent the number of pages Martin and Gabriel read. And so the question is, which situation represents a proportional relationship between those two things? Number of pages and number of minutes. So for both of those, for Martin and for Gabriel, we need to simplify to find what the ratios are. So we've got 2 over 5. That really can't be simplified, can it? We've got 4 over 10. What could we divide 4 and 10 by? By 2. That gets us 2 over 5. And then we've got 6 over 15. We can divide both of those by 3 to get 2 over 5. So Martin's is proportional. Now, did we find the unit rate? Because the unit rate needs to have what number on the bottom? 1. So this is a ratio, but if the ratios are the same, does that still make it proportional? Yeah? So this is proportional. Let's look at Gabriel's and just make sure that it's not proportional. So we've got 3 over 5 here. And then 4 over 10, we actually already simplified it. 4 over 10 is 2/5, so that doesn't work. So since already we've got 3 over 5 and 2 over 5, not going to be the same thing. We know that the number of pages Martin read is proportional. So you can circle it. You can say Martin is proportional. And the reason why this one is proportional is because the ratios are constant. Constant ratio of 2 pages every 5 minutes, or 2 over 5. So you're just simplifying each one of those separate ratios and then seeing which one of those gives you a proportional relationship. Okay, any questions? All right, go ahead and do the last one, and I think the hole punch got in the way of one of them, so if you want to look up here as big as you can. Make sure you explain your answer as well. Okay, so which situation represents a proportional relationship, Emilio or Walter? Adrian? Emilio, so whenever you simplify these, 20 over 30 simplifies to 2/3. 40 over 60, divide both by 20, you get 2/3. And then 60 over 90 also simplifies to 2/3. For Walter, 25 over 30 would be 5 over 6. But then 60 over 60 would be 1. And so already you can tell they're not going to be proportional. So your answer would be Emilio is proportional. And make sure you explain what would be a reason it's proportional. Because what? Because the ratios are constant. Good. Alright, so any questions there? Just a continuation of what we talked about yesterday. So a few more questions to be working on today. So kind of putting everything together with proportional relationships and looking at all types of questions for these.